This morning, we have what has got to be one of the most highly anticipated, highly requested, most commented, most sought after shoes right now, the Puma MagMax Nitro. And you guys know we are Max Cushion Gang on this channel. There is no other shoe I would rather review and run in today than the Mag Max Nitro. But we had some emissaries. sent to the channel this morning after I ran in the Brooks Hyperion 2, and they were asking me, can we have a truce? Can we have a truce between the Barefoot Mafia and the Max Cushion Gang? There will be no truce. So today we have the Puma MagMax Nitro. As I mentioned, this has got to be one of the most highly requested shoes right now. People just keep asking me to review it. It only came out 2 days ago, but you would think I'm 17 months late with how many questions I'm getting. But that's because this is the hottest category in the market right now, and every brand has some sort of exciting Max Cushion shoe. And the reason that they're on the top step today is because we have a friend. We cannot hurt our friend down here. He's just a little slug hanging out, reminding us we got to put in the work. So we're going to give him his space, let him do his thing, let him cook. Hashtag let slugs cook. Every brand has a little bit of a different take on this exciting Max Cushion category, and there's a few different types of shoes here. Now, these are not all the same type of shoe. We have the Hoka Skyward X, Saucony Hurricane 24, Asics Superblast, and New Balance Balos. The reason why I wanted to pull these shoes, these are some of my favorite shoes in this category, not necessarily a Superblast, but that's the people's favorite shoe with maximum cushioning. And it also just shows Skyward X, bouncy but fast, on the heavier, more protective side, a shoe that you can use for every type of run. Saucony Hurricane 24, stable, great walking shoe, but it has that race foam built into it to give you a little bit more pep for your everyday miles. Then you have the Superblast, which is that long run shoe that has that big, gigantic stack of race foam in here. One of the first shoes to really get this new Max Cushion category going, the more speed-oriented Max Cushion. And then Balos actually just officially dropped, I think, today on Running Warehouse. One of my favorite daily trainers right now. It is Max Cushion, but it really depends on your definition, right? What is Max Cushion even anymore? It has about 40 millimeters in the back. It's more of a 1080 with a little bit of a bounce to it, so more of an everyday running shoe, but then they have the race foam built into it. So all of these shoes here have the race foams. They all have about 40 millimeters or higher in the case of the Skyward X. And the Superblast, I also think maybe the Hurricane's a little bit higher, but different takes here, right? Some are more comfort-oriented, some are more speed, some are for longer miles. But bounce, protection, fun, comfort, that's what this category offers. And that's something that Puma historically has not quite had. So we have the Deviate Nitro 3, which is an awesome shoe. We have the Velocity Nitro 3. I also have all these inside. I'm not going to grab them out. That is more of a firm Max Cushion shoe. And then they have the Magnify Nitro, which I have not tried yet. So this shoe here in the box, the Magnify Max Nitro, taking what they've done in the standard Magnify, they just added the Max to it, amped it up, maybe softened it up a little bit more. And I'm really curious to see, where does it fit in the spectrum of Max Cushion training shoes in 2024. I don't read the reviews. I try to not see anything about these shoes, even on the forums, before I review it. I don't know if this is going to be a faster shoe. I don't know if it's going to be a slower shoe. It feels a little bit heavier in the box. You guys, if you watched the Hyperion video yesterday, saw me shaking it. So I'm hoping for some protection, some bounce, and that the race foam will give us good pep. There's one commenter on the channel, Stephanie. She told me it's good for some faster miles. That's all I know about this shoe. So with that, guys, let us open up this bad boy. Oh, look at that. Our friend went away, so we can move our shoes down here. Thanks, friend. This is how we do. I think I'm moving a fool like we up in a club. I put Lamborghini doors on the Escalade. Is this going to be like a Cadillac Escalade of running shoes. Whoa. Whoa, baby. I guess Puma is German, so this is going to be like the BMW X7. It's going to be like the AMG GLS. All right, shout out Running Warehouse, by the way. I bought this guy on Running Warehouse with my own money. And this is the thing about being a shoe-tuber. Sometimes the brands send me stuff, sometimes they don't. Puma sent me the DV8 Nitro 3 after I emailed them about 5 times. And then for this, I just decided I have too much pride to be out here begging PR people on email for shoes. I'm just not going to do it. So I just dropped the 180 on this. This is the thing. They know where to find me. They have my email. If they want to send me stuff, like some of the brands do, they've sent me stuff before. They know my address. They know my email. But these guys decided not to, so it's all good. Just drop some racks on the Mag Max. So, Puma, a lot of their shoes, before I open this up, a lot of their shoes have awesome midsoles. Their foams are some of the best in the game. The rubbers are some of the best in the game. What I am most concerned about with this shoe is the fit. Take a look at this Hoka here. This is an awesome fitting shoe for me with an American foot. It's got a little bit of a rounded toe box. This shoe, it just gives me that Messi Ronaldo vibe. Not this shoe, but all the Puma shoes. So let's see if we can do that. By the way, Running Warehouse, of course, bang, buy your shoes through my Running Warehouse link to help support the channel. And this is the thing, I can't be out here telling you guys to buy stuff through Running Warehouse if I'm not doing it myself. So I have no problem buying stuff through Running Warehouse. Let's take a look. Boom. Man, this is, wow. This might, I can barely speak. This might have the most foam of any shoe. I might have to pull out the More V5 out here. And it is a little bit lighter than I thought in hand. But yeah, they are wrapping up this foam all the way up the sidewalls here. Holy cow. And let's take a look at the toe box. Yeah, toe box does still look a little bit narrow. You got Mag Max stamped on the tongue. Ooh, this is a nice tongue and upper situation here. I'm not, so talk about bang-worthy colorway. We always say, is this a bang-worthy colorway? This launch colorway just does not do it for me. I do not love this blue and green combination. It is not certified dad drip. The only other colorway they had on Running Warehouse, though, was just a pure black, or is a black upper with the white midsole, which I don't really like black shoes either, as you can see up here. So this is what we got. Royal with the green. It's fine. It's okay. Puma actually does have an all white on their website. I hope Running Warehouse gets that one soon. This is okay. This will be fine for running. It's just, I mean, I guess I'm not going to wear this shoe as dad drip anyway. But man, this is a lot of foam. It's above 40 millimeters in the back. It's a ton of foam in the front as well. Non-plated. And that's the key with this shoe and the shoes it's going up against. Like the Superblast, non-plated, but very, oh my goodness, very stiff and rigid. I cannot bend this guy at all. So my question with this shoe is going to be, how does this puppy run with this much foam, this stiff, and are we going to get some comfort out of it? Because it's not the softest and squishiest, and I'm wondering if that's why my friend Stephanie, who commented on the channel, said it's good for faster miles. I'm wondering if this is going to take some force to activate. So max cushion gang, for sure. It's looking like this is going to be a shoe that might need a little bit of speed or weight to get something out of it. And Puma is not a brand that, kind of like On, right? They have shoes with more cushion, but none of their stuff is that soft. And even in the last generation or the current generation of the DV8 Nitro 3, that got a little bit firmer as well. So we'll have to monitor that and see, is this puppy soft? Man, this is a lot of foam. Just take a look at it versus the Hurricane here. So the Hurricane is about 40 millimeters in the back as well. And you can see the Mag Max even taller. The top is even taller. It wraps up even more on the sides. And it really creates these cradles, these sidewalls that are wrapping the foot to hold it in place. I don't know if you can see this on camera, but visually, yeah, you can see it here. look at this. So this is my little knife here. You almost have as much foam wrap it up as a knife. So your foot is not sitting on top of all this. It probably sits right about here, but still a lot of foam underneath the foot. And we also get a nice rocker in the front here, which is not something that we see on a lot of Puma shoes. They typically in the past have a little bit of flatter profiles, which again is one of the things that has held Puma back a little bit. Their narrow fit and then the flatter profiles. This looks maybe a touch more promising. I don't know. We'll have to get this on foot. But man, this is a lot of foam. Let us see how much this thing weighs. Oh my goodness. All right, so I just looked this up on Running Warehouse. 47 millimeters in the back. That is tall. All right, so this guy's coming in at 325 grams. That's on the heavier side, but it's also a lot of foam. So this is one of the cases where we'll have to see if the weight to performance ratio makes sense, because a lot of the racing shoes, they're about 100 grams less, but they don't provide as much protection and stability. And that is one of the things with having such a wide base. And if you look at the Mag Max compared to the Hurricane 24, which again, the Hurricane is more of a stability shoe, you get just as wide of a base in the Mag Max. So heavier, but hopefully we'll get the benefits from having that foam wrap. Now, compare that. Skyward X down. Compared to the Skyward X, 334 grams. So Skyward X is a little bit heavier. You get the carbon plate. You also get a little bit more of a built-up upper in the Skyward X. Now let's take a look at this versus the Hurricane 24, which this guy I think might be the heaviest shoe that I own right now. 340 grams. I've done a few runs in this. It's not the best for faster miles. It does have some pep to it, but it's more of a relaxed mileage shoe, a walking shoe, a nice comfort-oriented shoe, whereas the Mag Max, at least so far, I've heard is a little bit more of an aggressive get-up-and-go type of shoe. Also, by the way, we got the Puma grip, I should have mentioned. Lots of rubber coverage down here, and this thing just looks so good. All right, next up, we got the Superblast, and the Superblast is known for, in that weight to performance ratio, breaking the paradigm of what you might think. You get a lot of foam. This has about 45 in the back, somewhere in that range. But look at that, only 265 grams, and that's achieved because you get the full race foam. So this is Nitro. This is not the race foam from Puma. It is a higher end type of training foam. So a little bit confusing. I think they call their race foam Nitro Elite. Either way, you get a lot of this foam. We'll just have to see how it rides. But from pushing it in, it seems like it's a little bit of a different compound than what's seen in any of the other Puma training shoes. This doesn't seem like it's the exact same one we see in the DV8 Nitro 3. It also doesn't seem like it's the exact same foam we see in the Velocity Nitro 3. It does feel a little bit more like a race foam. We'll have to see how it performs. I'm guessing it's going to perform a little bit more like the foam in the Superblast than the Velocity Nitro 3, but only the miles will tell. And then bang, we have the Balos here. So this is $200 versus $180 for the Mag Max. This is more of an everyday running shoe, more of a traditional daily trainer with the race foam baked into it. This is 270 grams. So a lot lighter, but you also get a lot less foam. You only get 40 in the back of the Balos versus the 47. And man, the Balos looks like a minimalist barefoot shoe compared to the Mag Max. It really is wild. But this is a great example of what I've been saying with the Balos. More traditional. It seems crazy to say that for a shoe that's so rockered, but more traditional, simpler, also less stable compared to some of the options on the market, and you can see it right here. You don't have those sidewalls wrapping up as much, so the foot does wiggle a little bit more with the really soft foam. And look at this. Look at that. Look how soft that is. So just to the touch here, the Mag Max is nowhere near as soft as the Balos, which makes sense. You cannot have 47 millimeters of unplated foam that is as soft as the Balos. This is probably pushing the limits of what you can do for foam without the plate. So with that, guys, let's get this absolute whale of a shoe on our foot. Oh, hold on. We got to do a little QA check. So left one is 325.5, right one 320. So a little bit of a difference there, but at this weight, that is not a huge percentage difference. That's still within the 1 to 2% range. So good job, Puma. Let's lace up these German Shepherds. All right, lacing up the Mag Max Nitro here. And man, so from above and just feeling this upper in my hands, this does feel like a nice upper. And there's some shoes where I put them on and the uppers feel a little bit cheap. That was my experience with the Magic Speed 4. And then there's other shoes like the Brooks Hyperion Max 2, and these are all in the same neighborhood of Mag Max Nitro. The Magic Speed 4 is 170, Hyperion Max 2 is 180. The Hyperion Max 2 just had such a nice upper. This is falling into the nice upper category. It does have that classic Puma, a little bit snugness, lower volume, but the material feels nice. It is a little bit thicker. So we'll see how that does in the Carolina summer. It's a little bit actually cooler this morning. It's not super hot, but a little bit of a thicker upper. Laces are nice. It feels quality. So $180. Again, if we're paying over $160, I want to see some versatility, and I also want the materials to feel well built and to feel like we're putting on something on our foot that we get excited about, that gets us out of bed in the morning to run. Otherwise, if we're gonna go for just something standard, we can pay $155. We can pay $160. All right, I think we're gonna have to put a little Superblast fit and feel comparison on this one. Yeah, just lacing up the Superblast versus the Mag Max Nitro here, and this is the Superblast OG, but the 2 is similar in spirit. Superblast feels a lot lighter, more streamlined. It has more of that race vibe. The Mag Max Nitro, it's almost like the Hurricane, a little bit. You get the stability. I'll have to see how this foam does, but it feels a little bit more like it's going to be that relaxed cruiser, at least from the materials they've used on the upper. The laces are thicker. The tongue is, look at this. The tongue is thick. It's not a thin performance tongue like you get on the Superblast. It's actually a little bit more similar to the Skyward X, which has this thick tongue. And the Skyward X is a shoe that I applauded for leaning into the fact that it's not a lightweight race shoe. It is more of a built-up training shoe, and so they made some decisions on the upper to reflect that, to reflect the comfort aspirations. And those are the same things that we're seeing in the Mag Max Nitro here. You have a little bit of a thicker tongue. It is nice and stretchy here. Look at that. But you do have some sort of performance material on the top of the upper, but then good padding around the back. Let's see. Ooh. Wow, they actually really said that. Bouncy AF. They really put that there. It's a little tacky. But yeah, then they have some things like this little silver in the back that I am not loving. This colorway is also just not doing it for me. Not my favorite colorway. But let's see how this thing. Let's do a little fit and feel comparison. All right, so walk test with the Mag Max and the Superblast. Yeah, this Puma, it has that classic narrow Puma. I can feel the side of my foot just getting crushed in here. Just getting crushed. So this is not a wide-fitting toe box. This is one of the things that's just holding them back. I really wish Puma would widen it out just a little bit. They have a very narrow fit. But yeah, walking here, and of course this is not going to be a walking shoe. I mean, you could use it for walking, but the heel feels very high. This almost feels like a 10 millimeter drop platform, and I don't always look up the specs, but in this case I wanted to look up the specs before. It's an 8 millimeter drop, so 47 in the back, 39 in the front, which is just absurd, and it does feel very tall, but the heel does feel kind of high. It feels like it's slanting me on my feet a lot. Maybe that will provide more of an aggressive little pop when we're running, but could also feel a little bit too high. I'm a fan of that 4 to 6 millimeter more moderate range, but very protective, of course, very stable on this walk test, it does feel noticeably taller than the Superblast, which is just crazy because the Superblast is tall. So you get a ton of foam in here, and with the weight, the foam to weight ratio is actually really good because you're getting even more foam in the Mag Max than in shoes like the Skyward X, the Hurricane, and the More V5, and it's lighter than all those shoes. So I think we might need to do a little jog test. One jog, everybody knows the rules. So compared to the Superblast, the Mag Max was noticeably heavy, and the Superblast actually felt like it had a lot more pep and more compression on the way down. It also just feels lighter, lower, nimbler. But then on the way back, that's a nice taco. That's a swag taco. But on the way back, I picked it up a little bit. Just put a little bit more pep into my step. And that's when the Mag Max started coming alive. So my guess is this is, like our friend Stephanie said, gonna take a little bit more force. Maybe it's a shoe that more of those steady, a little bit faster miles. I'm not sure. Or just if you're a bigger runner, maybe this is the shoe. But the one thing is on this, so this is also, I believe, 8mm drop. This feels higher drop for some reason. I'm not sure why. This does not feel like an 8mm drop to me right now. This feels almost like a 12mm drop. Something that's going on with it makes it feel really tall. I don't know. I think maybe also this little rocker thing in the back just really slants you up forward. So a little bit of an aggressive feeling shoe in a way. I think it's a shoe that's gonna force us to run a little bit faster. So let's lace these up and then we can talk about the plan for the run. And then we can get some miles in. So plan for the run. Today's kind of a recovery day, I guess. Sunday I did 20 miles, 20-mile long run. Monday I got, I think, 14 with a nice steady morning run, throwing off some 550 and 6 flat pace. And then yesterday we did a 25-mile day in the Hyperion 2 with a track style workout in the morning, doing some 400s, and then just a nice recovery run in the afternoon. So I've had a lot of mileage and some good intensity this week. So today, probably 8 to 10 miles this morning. Just cruising, not worried about pace. We'll see however fast the shoe wants me to go, I will go. This is a little bit snug in the toe box, man. I went true to size here, 10.5. The length is fine. It just, something about it feels a little bit tight. This also might be a shoe that requires some break-in to soften up and also for the upper to maybe just mold to our foot a little bit. But yeah, it's not the softest and squishiest foam on step in here. It's a little bit, it's not firm. It's right in that middle zone. But if you're looking for something super soft and squishy, that's the Balos or the More V5. That's not going to be this one. But all right, let's get these miles in. Man, this is a lot of foam. Holy cow. I'm not even down my driveway yet. Jesus Cristo. So I know I joke a lot about Max Cushion Gang this, Barefoot Mafia that, but there's gotta be a point where there's too much foam. This shoe so far is bordering on that point for me. And I'm actually not quite sure not quite sure what the purpose of this shoe is, other than to give people a lot of foam. This is how I felt with the Neo Vista at first too, where it was, we're gonna put a plastic plate in a shoe with a lot of foam. And the whole point of having a lot of foam, or what makes a lot of foam good, is protection. Wrapping it up the sidewalls will give you stability, and then more energy return, or more bounce. And so far this shoe is giving me that. I do have to, this is almost, man, yeah, this is almost a tempo style shoe. Even though it's heavier, I feel like I have to run faster. But I'm not sure this is the best way to achieve what they're looking to do. So we'll just have to see. My early overreaction is that too much foam, potentially. Feels weird to say, and people always ask me how much foam is too much. I think once we get above 45, we're getting into that territory. This does feel like a lot of shoe on foot, but I have to say I ran 25 miles yesterday, so if this shoe can leave me feeling comfortable and protected, then it will have done its job. But golly, this is a big shoe. This is Max Cushion gang for sure. This might have been this is like the Max Cushion gang member who just starts going rogue, taking down barefoot mafia guys in broad daylight. It's like, dude, chill out. That's not how we operate. 47 millimeters. That's a big one. Whew. All right, we're on this first straightaway here. This is a shoe you can just run any old way in this shoe. There is no ground feel. This shoe does not care what your running form is, and it will just bounce you along. So that is the good part. I actually thought this was going to be the race foam. I don't know what this foam is. It feels like a race foam. It feels kind of like the Superblast Skyward X midsoles, where it's really bouncy. And that's the thing with these brands, they call these foams a bunch of different things, and you don't really know what's in them. So I don't know what's in this thing. Feels like a race foam, a little bit on the firmer side for relaxed, but then when I'm picking it up here, my goodness, this is bouncy. This is bouncy. So I'm gonna ease into this run, and I'll give you an update when we have one. All right, 10 seconds later, I have an update. The thing that no brand has been able to quite rival yet about the Superblast, and what a lot of the brands are missing, is that that shoe is great because of the weight. And that's what using the legit race foam will do for you. That's 250, 260 grams, as light as some race shoes. Lighter than the Cielo X1, lighter than the Puma Fast R Nitro 2. That's the magic of that shoe, the weight to performance ratio. And that's what makes it, even though for me it wasn't the most exciting ride, but it makes it a good option for longer runs for a lot of people, because you get the lightweight with the protection. And I don't mind having a heavier shoe like the Skyward X, but I can feel with this one and having that 47 millimeters with a little bit heavier weight, this is just a lot on foot. It is a lot on foot, holy cow. So not quite a Superblast competitor, just given the weight. All right, so mile one, 750 pace, recovery pace, And this feels like a pair of moon boots. It's very bouncy, but the sheer amount of foam is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I've never felt a shoe like this. And it's not unstable. I can just feel that there's a ton between my foot and the ground. And it's a super disconnected feeling that, I'm not sure. I'm borderline, is this too much? That's where my head is at right now. Is this too much foam? So I've got to say though, the bounce on this is really good. This is one of the bounciest training shoes I've tried. Skyward X, CLX1 levels for sure. This is a really good foam. Yeah, I would love to see this foam across some other shoes, because I don't think that they have this exact compound in anything right now. It feels a lot different than all the other Puma shoes I've tried. All right, mile 2, that was 7:30. I definitely need to compress this foam through speed to get the most benefit out of this shoe. It's not a relaxed cruiser. I can do it, but like the Superblast, it feels that I'm just not compressing the foam enough. The positive thing is though, I do think this shoe has a little bit more range so far than the Superblast, in that the point where it starts to feel good for me is a touch slower. With the Superblast, it's almost like 710, 7 flat is what I need to get down to. With this one, it's more so 730, 740. Similar to something like the Brooks Glycerin. That's just tuned a little bit more. And I know there's a lot of talk about Glycerin Max. This is almost like the Glycerin Max in the best way possible. Yeah, as I'm picking up the pace here, this thing is sweet. The balance is so good. This might be a good one for long runs. Mile 3, 7:34. It feels like it gets some momentum to get these things going. Take some momentum. They're bouncy, but it has that Superblast effect where it takes more effort than I really want to give to get the shoe going. So definitely a pace limited shoe for me. Just feels like I gotta run a little bit faster today than I want to get the most benefit out of the shoe. That's one of the things I really loved about the Skyward X. I could run any pace in that, and it didn't force me to go fast. I could hang back, and it worked well. So far, it seems a little bit of that is missing, but I'll pull back a touch on this next mile, see if it's any better, but so far it's wanting me to go. It's wanting me to go a little bit more. Yeah, it's just not feeling that great when I slow it down. It has a little bit of that stuck in mud feeling. Like it's just hard to get the legs moving at an 8-minute pace. Like the midsole is just not bouncing up enough with the amount of force in my running style at a recovery pace. So I'm just gonna get up to where the shoe wants me to go. My legs are feeling good enough to do it. So I'm just gonna set it, forget it, at around the whatever 740, 730 pace it's pushing me to. And I think we'll have a more enjoyable run experience there, because it is a really fun shoe locking into this pace. Yeah, we're bombing downhill right now. And this is great protection. No connection. but great protection. So if you're a bigger runner and you've been liking the Hurricane for daily, I think you will love this for more up-tempo, for faster stuff. This has a similar foam feel to the Hurricane. Almost feels identical to that Saucony Power MPB, but just more of it and a touch more bounce. But good stability. It's like the Hurricane on steroids. For me, at my size, 160, at my recovery pace, definitely I'm not activating the foam enough. So if you're bigger than I am, and you can activate this foam, could be a daily, but I think for some faster stuff with good protection, if you want speed and protection, this is gonna be a good one. Yeah, I'm throwing out some marathon pace on the straightaway. This puppy is singing. So it does have that Superblast. It's good for speed quality. Yeah, that was a 654 on that mile. So more speed, way more speed than even I anticipated. Next run, this might have to be a legit workout. I'm just not sure where this shoe would slot into my rotation. Personally, if I were building a 4 shoe rotation. It's kind of a heavy, do-it-all speed shoe. And the question is this too much sauce? Is it too much? Is there too much sausage in the casing? That's too much sauce! Too much sauce! All right, we just hit mile 9. Shoe is feeling a little bit heavy now that we're past an hour. So I think this is gonna warrant, this shoe is just confusing. I'm just gonna need to get more miles in it, but definitely gonna warrant a longer time on feet test. But my legs are also just fatigued from the 25 miles yesterday, so we'll see. See you guys at home. All right, I had to pop inside real quick, check some email and Slack. But let's boom, finish this out. We got 10 miles. I was going to only do 8 miles, but that didn't feel right. 10 miles, 7:22 pace in the Puma MagMax. And man, this is a comfortable shoe. I almost wish I got it in that black colorway because I am really not feeling this blue and green. These two colorways just don't go together, but I think I might wear this casually. Not in this colorway, but if I got it in black. This is the one case where the black colorway actually might have been better. But the thing is, if you look at that black colorway, it just looks like something you might find on the discount rack. I don't know. But run performance, man, this was a confusing shoe. It is so stacked and so protective, but it also felt like it was making me go fast. Yeah, we were running 720. I told you I was just going to lock into whatever pace the shoe wanted me to go, and it wanted me to go between 7:10 and 7:30. That was the natural pace of the shoe. Any slower, I was just getting stuck in mud on this gigantic chunky heel. I just had to get the legs moving. I had to get some momentum. I had to put some force into the shoe or it would not work well. And it does look like it's starting to break in after this first run. You can see some creasing here, which is always nice to see. That means the foam is going to soften up, get its true character. I really think this is going to take 30 miles of break-in at least before we can really give a good assessment on it. So I'm going to hold fire on any hot takes on this shoe. It is comfortable though. It's stable, it's bouncy, it's fun. It is not lightweight, it is heavy, and that's the key thing with this versus the Superblast. Superblast is the special sauce or the secret sauce there is the lightweight versus the stack. With this guy, you get a lot of stack, but it's the weight that you would expect. There's nothing about the foam that's defying the law of physics the same way that we would see in the Superblast. But I have a call, so I'm going to shower, hit some Zoom, and then we'll be back out here whenever we're back out here. I don't know. I'll see you guys in a bit. Gotta hit that 9 to 5. Chopping wood, baby. All right, we're all showered and ready to go, but I had to get a little quick recovery fuel in. I think we're just gonna chug some OJ. Bada boom. Bada bing. And then get a little one of these zucchini muffins. And this is the thing with the refuel sometimes. You just gotta go quick calories. And that's why I love having orange juice. This is one of my favorite post-run thing right now. Is just get that blood sugar going. And I was just in a 30-minute call, so I have not had anything since we finished that run. And then look at this. Little zucchini muffin. One bite. Everybody knows the rules. Look at that thing. Homemade from Superbl Kitchen. Absolute flames. Sunflower has nothing on this. Wash it down with some OJ. This is the thing about the refuel. Sometimes you gotta eat like a 5-year-old. You already know what it is, man. We had to pop out here on the lunch break, get active. That 9 to 5 lifestyle, putting in work. You know how we do? Hobby joggers, man. I've just been listening, I don't know why, I've just been listening to How We Do on repeat. Yeah, how we do. By the way, someone said I should send Elliot Kipchoge a hobby jogger hat. That is disrespectful. My man is not a hobby jogger. He's some of the fastest marathon times in the world. Sub-2 marathon, talking about sending Elliot Kipchoge a hobby jogger hat. Yeah, it'll be cool to get some miles in with him. He's an invincible guy, by the way. There's this footage that came out of him, Kipruto, and one of the other Kenyan marathoners getting some miles in the day before the race. First of all, Kipruto, he was in Ultra Boost. Was it Kipruto? Whoever the Adidas athlete was that was with Kipchoge was in Ultra Boost 5X, and Kipchoge was in the Invincible 3. So I think sometimes it's so funny as hobby joggers, we say, oh, these aren't real running shoes. And then Kipchoge's putting down like 75-mile days in the Invincible 3, and the Adidas guy who placed first or second or third is banging out miles in the Ultra Boost 5X. So it just goes to show you, shoes have gotten so good, and even these shoes that we don't consider to be the cream of the crop, that aren't the latest and the greatest, are still quality shoes. So where does that leave us with the Mag Max here? So we got 10 miles. Yes, we're going to do the breakdown. We're in the post-run thoughts section, but what I really want to do is bust out another run and get some more miles in this shoe, because, man, as I'm holding this, we haven't even done the little palm test. This is a wide shoe. The back isn't that wide, but the forefoot is super wide. As I'm holding this in my hands, it is so chunky, but this is a shoe that, sorry, no off-topic distractions today. This is a shoe that has left me feeling so protected. It was a confusing ride. It wasn't my favorite ride out of any shoe I've tried. I think Skyward X still takes that. I like this ride a little bit better than the Neo Vista, but the effect on my body and how easy it was to run, how easy it was for me to put down 710s, and I checked my heart rate. I don't always look at the heart rate. I do think it was accurate today. It was around 140 something, and I'm not going to attribute that all to the shoe. My aerobic fitness is in a really good place, but it was relatively easy to throw down 710 pace in a shoe with this much stack. So where I'm landing on the shoe so far is very protective, great for picking up the pace a little bit, but not the most versatile. But I think this is going to be a mileage eater in the same vein as something like the Superblast, but maybe a little bit friendlier for more people. I didn't get along with Superblast too well. This does have a little bit of that character where you gotta put some force down into it to activate it, but I didn't feel that I was fighting against the foam as much. But that's the thing, I still was fighting against the foam a little bit. So it's a little bit of a confusing shoe. I'm gonna need to get some more miles in it. I really want to see how it does with some break-in, because as you can see here, can you see here? as you can see here, right here, you can see the creasing, and then on the inside of the shoe, can you see that? A little bit of creasing on the inside of the shoe as well. This guy's putting in the work all morning. That guy's literally been driving back and forth all morning. But the shoe is gotten some creases, which indicates to me that it will evolve, it will soften up a little bit, and maybe feel a little bit more cohesive. So my main issue, and as I was saying out there on the run, at times it just felt like we were at the limits of what's possible with foam. 47 millimeters is a lot of stack, and I don't think I would like to run in a shoe with any more foam than this. I know I joke a lot about the Max Cushion gang and the Barefoot Mafia, but there has to be a limit with how tall these shoes get, and this shoe is right up at that for me. At times during this run, it felt like overkill, but I'm glad I took some time off and I did my Zoom call and I chugged the orange juice, because it's now an hour or so after the run and my legs feel great. So the effect of this shoe on the body and the fact that I was able to hold the pace I was, despite the weight, it's left me really impressed. I think this is a great foam. I think it's going to get better with time. Puma also makes very durable shoes like Adidas. They're right up there. So I anticipate this is going to be a shoe we could take to 400 miles if we wanted to, and it will leave us feeling protected for all those miles. So a little bit on the heavier side. At times I felt like I was fighting against the foam, but at other times when I was locking into some faster pace, getting down to 650, 630, and even 6 flat on some straightaways, this felt good. It didn't feel like I was maxing it out. Now I did try to dip below 6 flat 1 or 2 times, getting down to 10K pace and faster, and it did feel like there was a little bit of a limiter, so I don't think this is going to be a speed work shoe, and that is where the lighter Barefoot Mafia style shoes like the Hyperion 2 were in yesterday, that's where those come into play. But getting down to 6 flat in this, that's not shabby at all. So this shoe has some range to it. I'm hoping it will soften up a little bit. It's not firm, but just get a little bit friendlier for relaxed miles. But I also think it's just physics, right? With this much foam, I can't run relaxed because I need to be activating the foam to get that moon bounce effect. Otherwise, it just feels like I have a pair of Blundstones on and I'm trying to jog in a pair of Blundstones at a slower pace. So the foam is great. Everything they've done with the shoe is great. The stability is great. It's getting limited by the laws of physics, and that if you have this much foam on a shoe, it's gonna feel like a lot of shoe on foot. So it's not a light feeling shoe. It is easy to run in when running fast, but because of how much foam it's there, it's just overkill for me for running relaxed miles when I'm not putting force down into shoes. And I think sometimes we think about if we're running recovery, that's where we want the max cushion shoes. But I think honestly for recovery, sometimes I want a little bit of a lighter shoe because I'm not going to be putting the force down into the shoe. I don't want to have to put so much effort into the shoe to run. So I did have to put a little bit more effort into the shoe sometimes during the run to get some more out of it, but I'm not feeling that effort right now. I am feeling very viscous. Very viscous. So just to sum it up here, good qualities, the bounce of the foam, how easy it is to hit some faster paces, the protection, the fun factor. This is a very fun shoe like the Skyward X. The Superblast at times to me could feel just a little bit staid and serious, and the Asics shoes, the race shoes, can feel staid and serious. Even something like the Alpha Fly at times can feel serious. That's the benefit of this. It's not going to feel serious. It feels fun. It feels bouncy. It feels peppy. It's nice and stable. You get the wider base. You get a ton of foam. The upper is solid. It's not good. It's not bad. It's okay. So that's the good part of this shoe. The foam is great. You get the bounce. You get the protection. Downsides, the foam is great. You get the bounce and the protection, but you also get 1,033 cubic inches of foam in the shoe. So it's just a lot of bulk. If you don't like that feeling, you're not going to like this shoe. I also think some people who are lighter on their feet might not love the shoe. It felt like too much shoe at times for me. So this is one that is definitely going to need more testing. We need more miles. We need double days. We need long runs. I'm honestly still not sure what this is going to be best for. And I was confused at the beginning. I'm still confused. I'm still confused about where this would fit into my rotation. I like to always answer the question now, if I had only 3 slots, if I could have a 3-shoe rotation, Would I pick this shoe? I'm not sure. It's kind of a weird shoe. I liked it. It was a very fun experience, but it's just a weird shoe. We need some more miles. I do think maybe if you had a shoe like the Magic Speed that's very light, fast, aggressive, not going to be the most protective, that is a decently protective shoe, or something like the Hyperion 2, maybe you'd want to pair it with this. But the fact that it's as heavy as it is and also encourages a faster pace, that's where it's leaving me with some questions around what would be the ideal use case. So stay tuned for some high mileage tests. Stay tuned to get some insights on whether it's going to break in. But I can tell you right now, this is a fun shoe. So fun, bouncy, as advertised. It's going to give you some pep in your step. I'm just not quite sure exactly where it fits right now, and that's why it's a first run review. This is not a full review. We need some more miles, but 10 miles with feeling very protected after a 25-mile day, that's a good shoe right there. I think this is going to be one that I end up liking a lot. I just think we need some more miles in it to tell. So that is the Puma MagMax Nitro. Thank you for watching. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. All right, one more thing. Lunch today for the refuel, we have the homemade honey wheat bread, a little spinach, vegan mayo, you can't even see this, and then vegan chicken patty, nice and light. I'm going to do 2 of these, and then we may or may not bang some more miles. We may or may not. All right, I got another meeting. And bang, a little afternoon pick-me-up. Had to hit them with the homemade chocolate zucchini bread. Look at that. Boom. All right, so you already know what it is. We had to hit them with the quick double on the Mag Max Nitro. It would be disrespectful to not put up at least 14 miles in this shoe for a first run review. But we hit them with the 18. Little Randall Cobb on a random Wednesday. 7:42 pace, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 19 seconds. So that's 2.5 hours, nearly 2.5 hours of quality running in the Forever Run Nitro. And my takeaway is, this feels like running with a pair of Jordan 8s on. This is like if they turn those grape 8s into a running shoe. This is how it would feel. This is bottom heavy. This is a lot of foam. It is a little bit clunky, but man, it's lots of protection. And if you're jumping like you would in a pair of basketball shoes, this is going to give us some bounce. So I'm glad we got the second run in it today, because it always teaches me something new about a shoe. With this one, it confirmed my hunch that this is just a lot of foam. It feels like a lot of foam underfoot. It takes some force to compress, and it is on the heavier side, but we started picking it up towards the end there, and it's great for that. So this is not, for me at least, going to be that relaxed mileage cruiser, but like the Superblast, if you want to run a lot of miles and feel comfortable and run those miles a little bit faster, this is the nice option. And I think for me right now, at this point of training, this might be the shoe I need, because I want to pick it up a little bit more and not just be running recovery. Skyward X was great for that as well. So 18 miles. This is an awesome shoe. Definitely heavier, not as light as the Superblast. I'm not sure it's going to be as good for true long runs, and next run in this will have to go at least, I want to say at least 12 miles in a single run. So I want to get at least 90 minutes continuously in this. That'll be the next test, but I like it. It's a solid shoe. It's a solid shoe, and of course you got the Puma grip, lots of tread, lots of rubber coverage, so it's going to be durable as well. All right, that is all I have for you today. Stay tuned for more. Some more cushioning, some more Cozy Boy summer coming at you. Stay cozy.